Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So this is a pretty upsetting story for anybody who hasn't been paying attention. In 2017, really every non-racist and everyone with a conscience watched in horror as it was revealed that the Trump administration had done something that was almost too unconscionable even for Trump. It was almost too horrid to even fathom as reality. He and his administration purposely, with the utmost of cruel intentions, ripped more than 5,500 children, immigrant children, away from their parents at the border. And they sent them to separate facilities, all alone. Some were so young they were still breastfeeding. They were infants. In fact, according to court documents, 60 of the children separated from their parents were under the age of 5 at the time. So this, of course, was known as Trump's zero tolerance policy, and it was crafted by truly one of the most vile, disgusting excuses for a human being to ever crawl the earth. Beelzebub himself, Stephen Miller. As we all know, months of protests, court battles ensued. Everyone was trying to reunite, not everyone, not the Trump administration, but good people in this country were trying to reunite the grieving parents with their obviously must have been terrified children, some of whom suffered sexual abuse, physical abuse in these facilities. Some never made it out at all. There were some who actually died in custody and without even their parents there to comfort them. So the damage was done. Many of the children who have been reunited with their families will never be the same. They're emotionally scarred for life, all because Trump used this as a political weapon. He was politically motivated by his desire to appease the white supremacist portion of his base. That was the only reason that he went along with it. And as unbelievable as it may seem, these emotionally scarred children who are back with their parents might just be the lucky ones, because a new report shows that there are still 545 children whose parents have not been found. Many of these parents were deported without their children, and the true evil that occupies the White House did not even care enough to develop a system or database in which to track their whereabouts. They didn't even care to try to create a system to maintain the connection between the children and the parents so they would know which children belong to which parents. So a full 10% of these kids have now been without their parents for over 3 years. 3 years. Anyone who has children knows that that is an eternity to be separated from your child. Some of these kids were so young that even if they were reunited with their parents, they're not even going to recognize their mothers and fathers anymore. And then others who aren't even included in this 545 total, they were sent to Christian adoption agencies. They were adopted out like puppies. And guess who helped with that? These Christian adoption agencies have ties to Betsy DeVos, Trump's education secretary, the woman who thinks that it's totally okay for girls to be sexually assaulted on their college campuses. Yeah, let's put her in charge. Let's let her have a hand in saying where these children go. And yes, it's true. Some of these parents made the most impossible, completely selfless decision to leave their children here in the US. It was more important for them to protect them from the poverty and danger in their home country. But they never, ever would have done that. They never would have chosen to be separated from their children. One of these news outlets reached one of the mothers for comment. and she broke down crying. Her name is Juana. She had 4 girls ranging from 9 to 16 years old, and they fled Honduras because their lives were in danger. And she said that making the decision to leave her girls in the US and allow herself to be deported without them was one of the most difficult decisions of her life. Anyone who has children and actually gives a damn about them knows that it would be like ripping your heart out of your chest. So these girls are now with their father, but she says that they're not close to him at all. They never have been. And the girls cry every time they speak to their mother on the phone. These are not criminals. These are not rapists. These are not drug dealers. The vast majority, are there some that come across? Yes. And hopefully the people at the border do a good enough job and they catch them. But the vast majority of these parents love their children as much as any other parent who has a heart and a conscience. They were trying to give their children a better life, to save their lives. And to make matters worse, if that's even remotely possible, 362 of these 545 children can't even be located now. Not only can the parents not be located, they can't locate the children because the kids, after they were sent all over the place to foster homes and what have you, then they eventually were sent to live with sponsors. Now, some may be relatives, some may not. Some absolutely were not. And 362 of them have not kept their contact information up to date. So they can't even be reached, even if they could find their parents. Now you have a situation where you might find the parents and you can't find the kids. And what complicated all of this, what really held this up, what really kept these children from possibly never being reunited with the parents that gave birth to them, that loved them enough to walk thousands of miles, flee and leave everything that they know behind, including relatives, including the rest of their family. What complicated it all, what caused the most harm, was the fact that the Trump administration lied to authorities for months. So freaking typical with Trump and his heinous, heartless administration. They lied. They lied about how many families had actually been separated, and they kept the names and numbers hidden from the courts. Precious time was lost due to these cruel and inhumane policies, the treatment of human beings whose only crime was wanting a chance to succeed and to keep their families safe. In fact, an attorney for the American Civil Liberties Union told one news outlet, quote, "The fact that they kept the names from the court, from us, from the public, was astounding. We could have been searching for them this whole time." And I think this is so important. It is important to remember all of the grotesque things that Trump has done over the past 4 years. Because even I have forgotten so much. Even though I have been absolutely involved and paying attention to every single issue, every twist and turn during the last 4 years of this absolutely dark period in our country. I have been paying attention since before he took office to every absolutely horrific, unconscionable, disgusting decision he has made since he took office. But you know, this stuff fades, unfortunately. It's not kept front and center. Yeah, the majority of this took place in 2017 and then a little bit into 2018. But the media has, by and large, just dropped the whole thing. It's vital that we factor all of this into our decision-making when we cast our ballots this week, because Trump and his administration are truly uniquely evil. I had forgotten. I am so sorry to everyone. I really had forgotten. It's so easy for us to say no difference between Biden and Trump, but that is absolutely 100% factually untrue. Did they create cages? Yes. Did they separate children if they thought that they weren't truly their children? Or if children had come into the country alone, did they keep them in their own facility? Yes, that was for their protection. But they didn't categorically, across the board, without fail, no matter who the children were, no matter who the parents were, even if they knew for a fact that these were parents and children together, they never did something like that just to be cruel. And they especially didn't make it a crime to cross the border legally, as many of these parents tried to do. And for everybody listening who says, well, when you break the law, you go to prison, you don't get your kids with you. Where are your children when you go to prison? They're not in jail. Your kids aren't locked up in a fucking box. They go to stay with family. They go to stay with people that they know to get them through having lost you. They go to stay with people that they trust and that they know, who likely aren't going to sexually assault them and abuse them. They're not stuck in a fucking cage like an animal. They don't cry themselves to sleep with no one to put their arms around them at night and show them compassion. I'm so sick of hearing that. It's a bunch of bullshit and you all know it. And even crossing the border illegally was a misdemeanor. It's like a traffic stop. You don't get thrown in jail. Your child doesn't get taken away from you for running a red light or parking where you're not supposed to park, driving with expired tags. Yeah, this is a hot button issue for me, guys. Can you tell? I will let you know if I hear any more in this matter, but yeah, this has me beyond furious. So, as always, guys, please share. People have to know about this. Subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.